Thank you very much.
Have a good meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening and welcome to the Situate Planning Board Thursday, May 23rd meeting being held in the Select Board hearing room of the Town Hall. The general public is welcome to attend via Zoom. It is a hybrid meeting. We do have a posted agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
6:30, Form A, and A&R plan for Fort Crescent Ave.
Nothing to read.
Nothing to read.
A&R.
We have anybody here? Joe, you here for that?
Yeah, it's just me,
Just you.
Yes, you.
You can sit up.
back in the fall, you guys endorsed an A&R plan of this property. We went to the Conservation Commission and, they asked us to see if we could try and move the house a little closer to the street, away from the resource area. In order to do that, to achieve lot depth from a zoning perspective, we had to widen the property. So we created that little parcel A that you see. And that parcel A would be combined with lot one, which is where you previously divided.
No big deal.
So front and back has easy, right?
Nothing's really changed.
No.
Move the house. Okay. Karen?
It has frontage and access, so you can endorse. It's just a change in the lot line from conservation.
Or table. Another tree.
Another tree that would just.
Any questions from the board, Rebecca? Steve? Yeah? No. Okay. You got something to read?
Not yet, but it's coming.
Coming.
Your motion.
The motion.
Does that have a copy of? I move to endorse as approval under the subdivision control law not required, a plan of land for 40 Crescent Avenue in Scituate, Mass. By Paul J. Mirabito, professional land surveyor of Ross Engineering, a subsidiary of Brady Consulting LLC, dated May 7, 2024, for applicant owner Joseph G. Imbriani, trustee of the Pitts Central Crescent Avenue Nominee Trust, and Joseph G. Imbriani and Mary Louise Vaughn, co-trustees of the Pitts Family Home Trust, as division of land is not a subdivision because every lot shown on the plan has frontage of at least the distance presently required by the Scituate zoning bylaw on the public way of Crescent Ave.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Set.
Right?
Get it out, over here.
Yeah, the next one, yeah.
Center Street.
Form A for an A&R plan of 165 Douglas Street. Assessment map for 23-1-38 applicant 24-2-49B. Applicant Orange Adams Equity Partners LLC. Mr. Douglas. Go forward.
So, similar to Crescent Avenue, this is an aggregation of multiple lots owned by the same property owner. And then a redivision of that land. The lot to the left on the plan that you're looking at is the 50-foot frontage lot, so it would conform with zoning such that a house can be placed in the rear of that lot and the wide portion in the back, kind of behind the existing house.
At lot one?
The lot to the left, I don't have the plan in front of me.
Lot two is the one in the back.
That were forming.
Lot one is the one with the existing house, lot two is the one in the back.
That's.
Yeah.
On the left.
As you're looking at the plan, is it on the left, the,
One is on the left.
I'm sorry, I should have come with the plans. That would help, right?
It's up on the board, right there.
Yeah, so the 50-foot frontage lot is lot 2, which to me, as I'm looking at the plan from the perspective of Summer Street, is on my left. You'll notice that there's a fairly significant amount of wetlands, which basically cuts directly through the entire frontage of lot 2. And then you're also gonna notice on the, on Summer Street, there's a dashed line, a big black dashed line that delineates the town of Norwell and the town of Scituate. So that kind of triangle that's in the town of Norwell is not being proposed to change, but we were recently, like last week or two, before the town of Norwell, and they endorsed this exact same plan. The concept here and what we're going to do is we're getting a common driveway coming off of Summer Street in the town of Norwell up to basically that division line. And then in all likelihood, they're gonna, there'll be a driveway that tees off in one direction and a driveway that tees off in another direction. There's already an existing path there that tees off to provide access to the rear. So access would be achieved over lot one. And in the town of Norwell, the building inspector issues the common driveway permit. And we've already submitted all of the application plans and they check the boxes. I could understand that you might be a little concerned endorsing the plan and providing it to me without knowing, number one, where the wetland, where the wetland delineation actually is. And number two, making sure that we have the common driveway access in place. Which I understand. I was thinking of requesting a continuance of the hearing, but then I was like, I suppose we have access, we have frontage. I'm explaining the access scenario, and if you'd be amenable, I would say request that you also endorse the plan like Norwell, and then Karen can hold on to it, not to be released to me until we've completed that process.
So can I ask you, do we have to approve of the driveway as well, plus across the Scituate way?
Well, I think there's a little problem here.
There's no access to this parcel.
There's none.
Right, there's no, first of all, there's no access to the parcel right now.
Yeah.
The second issue is, we don't really know where the common driveway is. As shown on that plan right now, that does not meet the town of Scituate bylaw for a common driveway. And so that's a concern right now. The town of Scituate common driveway has to be for a lot. That being said, I did get an opinion from town council who thought that it'd probably be best if you endorse and then deal with things in the common driveway. But that's kind of contrary to what Mr. DeLisi is saying, because this common driveway, you guys specifically rewrote the common driveway bylaw so that all of the common part of the driveway is part of the common driveway. And this plan really doesn't show us where the common driveway is. So that being said, the common driveway would go not with just where the easement is, it would go all the way up through to the end of lot one. That's what we in Scituate would call the common driveway.
The other thing is, we've run into this with Laurelwood.
With who? Laura Wood? Oh.
And, when you talk about illusionary frontage,
Illusory.
whatever, this is it right here.
Look, there's no frontage, there's no access and no, which, until there's access, right?
Well,
So I fully understand, right? The hope was that we were gonna have in hand a common driveway from, the, building inspector in Norwell. The common driveway, if you have access from Summer Street, and it's common, and we own all the property, we certainly could continue to drive down the existing path and tee up. We could provide a plan that shows it, but I don't think for purposes of an A&R endorsement, we should have to, because that's a zoning issue, and there's a note on the plan, and you always remind us that endorsing a plan to divide land does not indicate compliance with zoning. If 6.5 doesn't the other, I'm more than happy to just request a continuance. We'll clean it up, you'll see where the common driveway is, if that's what you wanna see. And I think then we'll probably be in a better position to discuss, up to you.
I fully agree with you.
I don't, at this point, I wouldn't endorse it because it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
No,
yes, I'm admitting it doesn't, as we sit
And I don't
here.
wanna endorse it with the expectation that we'll ultimately have access. If it never materializes, what happens? Right?
Yeah.
It's like, let's get it squared away and we can do it.
So, I mean, I think you need to provide some direction here, because
I'll request a continuance if you want.
technically you're not supposed to continue it on Form A, but if that's what, if you're willing to give us a continuance, we'll take a continuance. But, you know, just because it's approved in Norwell doesn't mean it means your Scituate bylaw.
Well, that's what I'm saying, that's why I wouldn't sign off on it today, I would wanna know that whatever we're signing off on is something that meets our requirements, right? And it certainly doesn't meet the requirement of A and R right now,
Correct.
right? So.
Yeah.
It just feels like we should continue this, we should get this squared away. I mean, you know, personally, I don't have any objection to figuring this out, but we should figure it out.
Yeah.
I would think it might be better, rather than continuing it, to have it withdrawn without prejudice and then come back at a later date and have it and resubmit it the way it should be.
I would suggest, to me, that seems like a better way to do it, and you can decide if, you know, you can even waive another filing fee,
Right, but I think it should
to
be
do,
withdrawn.
to do that. It's just that, you know, I think you need to look at the Scituate bylaw for common driveway.
Yeah.
And meet the criteria of.
I've met with the building inspector about this, and, so long as the common portion of the common driveway is in the town of Norwell, he agrees that the town of Scituate doesn't have the ability to regulate that. If the common driveway were to go into the town of Scituate, or the common portion of it, then that would be a different case.
Well, the bylaw has just been rewritten, and you have to look at what the common portion of the driveway is.
Yeah.
And so the common portion is not what anybody feels like it is. We specifically define in the bylaw what the common portion is. The common portion is a portion that runs all through the common land. So on this picture right here, the common driveway would go through to the beginning of lot 2.
Right.
Yeah, I agree on that picture.
Yes.
So,
It does, on this, the common driveway ends at the property line of 2.
Agreed.
And that, and I, you know,
We can't,
We will- no.
I will not.
No.
Okay.
anyhow,
So is it, if you think it would be cleaner, and I kind of agree to just withdraw, would I ask the board for, the courtesy of waiving the filing fee when we come back?
yes,
Okay, great, thank you,
we can do that.
excellent.
So what's the motion here?
I don't think you have a motion on just withdrawing without prejudice.
Sharon, do we have a motion for this?
No.
well, we had 2 motions, but.
Not this one.
This one.
Oh, no, but
This
this
to
one,
withdraw the Form A without
Prejudice.
prejudice.
Maybe
And
next file.
and waive the filing fee for resubmission.
Right.
So moved.
all in favor?
Aye.
I see you want to come back.
Excellent, look forward to it. Good to see you guys again.
I see, okay. I can't read this one over. Well, you're way ahead of schedule.
Welcome back.
Thanks. I will have all business reviews, water, you can pay a lot of goods and I'll update. Thank you. Yeah, do you have any minutes?
I'm gonna look in 2 seconds.
Oh, should I grab the A&R endorsement on the Mylar, or do I just pick it up tomorrow? The
Okay, we'll
first,
pick it up tomorrow or Tuesday.
Tuesday, probably.
Probably Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Monday's a holiday.
is Friday holiday?
No, but I don't know the holiday, but I think
Tuesday.
Nine.
Please, thank you.
Please.
I have no minutes, but I do have accounting.
No minutes, you do have time.
I move to approve the requisition of $120 Tech Inc. for peer review services for Laurelwood Drive, Lot 5, number 9. $4,640 Tech Inc. for peer review service for Laurelwood Drive, lots 1 and 2, number 1 and 3, for $7,250 to Chesapeake Consulting for peer review services for 19 Fourth Place.
Who's second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So now, so for every election, there's a reorganization post-town election. So, it's the chair, the vice chair, and the clerk.
The clerk.
Do we have any nominations?
I nominate Patty to remain as chair. She's done a phenomenal job.
Endorse that as well.
Yes.
Well, I thank you for your trust and your support, but we're glad to lead us into the abyss for another year.
And it is into an abyss.
No, this,
No abysses,
No
okay?
abysses.
Clear,
this is
clear
allowed.
straight ahead, it will be fine. So now we have an approval for a vice chair.
Oh, yeah, you have,
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
gonna vote each and one individually, so you have to.
Okay.
I have to move the, wait a minute.
It was moved and
Yes,
seconded.
moved and
seconded.
So now you need to vote.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
All right, so unanimous.
Unanimous.
yes.
Unanimous. Right. So now we have, the position of a vice chair. Presently, we have Rebecca. Would you like to continue on that, or would you like to? You would like to bring that again?
I will move that, Rebecca remain as vice chair.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Welcome aboard. And then, and that's unanimous, and I have to tell you, I think Ann does a fabulous job as a clerk, although we will want to give it to our newest member. Laura, are you interested?
In what?
In being a clerk. So you read all the motions, and you read all the information, all the stuff that Ann reads. Normally, we give it to the newest member of the board, not
Not
necessarily.
necessarily. I like it.
You can have it.
I'm still trying to like.
You gotta give her a year.
Okay, yeah,
Give me a little,
yeah.
let me, I'm a newbie.
Yeah, okay.
I'm pregnant.
All right, so, all in favor, again, remaining as clerk, aye,
Aye.
unanimous.
Thank you so much.
Here we go, all right.
Thank you.
Moving right along.
I like doing it. It's
I know,
weird.
not really, because you got that evil thing going, it's fine.
The what?
Yeah, and like everything I see. So we want to update the MBTA communities as we go onward and upward in this.
I read your letter. It was excellent. One typo, but I ignored it.
Good.
So they have a hell of a nerve. They really do.
So we sent a letter out this week to EOHLC, and we have not heard any responses.
And it won't for a while.
But we're not the only town, I mean, we passed the zoning, it's in with the AG. We haven't given our zoning map to the AG. We just got a new zoning map that Shari and I liked today, I'll show you that. But we're not the only community getting some of these comments from EOHLC. You know, and the letter, we'll see what they have to say. Basically, you know, we point out to them that, you know, not every lot has to have frontage, you know, obviously, it's not in the guidelines. They say nothing in the guidelines about frontage. The floodplain and the tidelands, you can't fill tidelands. I mean, you can't fill salt marsh. I mean, some of their comments are very, very ludicrous. Last time when we talked to them,
I'm sorry, did they say they wanted to do filling? What did they say?
they say you can't prohibit by right development in the tidelands and conservation district.
There is no right to develop there.
There is no right of development, you can't build there. And so, you know, some of their comments are just ridiculous. We come back, we sent a letter arguing them, I've asked for a phone call with them. The last time when we had a phone call for our mandatory mixed use districts, you know, it was town council and Jim, myself, Patty, and Shari, and this time we will have our consultant get on, because some of the things they're writing are absolutely bogus for a town that is trying to comply. And so that's the bottom line.
They should have been invited as a PS. Would you please come and visit and see what we're talking about?
Absolutely.
Plus, we copied Patrick O'Connor and Patrick Kennedy.
They
So,
really do.
just, and maybe I'm overstepping my bounds here, but just for the new people who
Oh,
join
yeah,
us,
so you might wanna know what
Do you
this is
know-
about.
kind of what we're talking
I
about.
read the letter.
Yeah, okay.
I was just wondering who the comments were from, is that from? Who's providing the comments that,
Chelsea, which is this, which used to be
So
housing.
the MBTA Communities Act was passed,
Yep.
right, and it applied to us.
Yep.
And there were certain sets of criteria that were in it. We met all those criteria, we passed modifications to zoning at the last town meeting. And we filed with,
We
it
probably,
used to be DHCD, but if
You know,
it's HLC,
because
yeah.
they're the administrator of that law, basically. And they sent a set of comments back to the town of Scituate. And then the comment letter that went back was Karen's comments back on their comments.
So the comment letter, we applied for pre-adoption review, so that when we apply for final, we know it's hopefully gonna be, acceptable. The comment letter is stressed item 1, response to item 1. Item 1 is their comments, EOHLC's comments that they gave in a letter to us.
thank you.
So, it's a wait and see type thing, but, town council wants us, ideally, we get to talk to EOHLC in the next few weeks, and then town council wants us to apply pretty much right away for full compliance, because we wanna know where we stand before the fall town meeting.
Rewrites. And and if you read the paper, all last week is all kinds of stuff about this MBTA Communities Act. We are trying desperately, we're the only town around here, trying to comply. And they just keep pushing us back. It's,
So Abington passed the zoning that
Oh, they
complied
did.
to.
So hang on.
Yeah, Hingham too.
they did.
But Hingham didn't really have to, Hingham's was supposedly where the ferry,
Yeah,
right by
ferry
the
is.
ferry, so, it's all built out anyways.
Yeah, it's all
And the same thing with Norwood, they're pretty much built out as well.
Yeah.
And most of these communities are.
But Hingham does have they do have a train.
Right, but they were putting their Hingham was putting their district by the ferry,
Because that's also the MBTA,
that's MBTA.
so you forget.
When
They told us that, I forgot that the ferry was there. But it's, I don't know, it's kind of like an okay balance, so, but we know that the two Patricks are working hard for us, and they. And this project is just, these are a group, and then they report to somebody above them, and we have no idea who did the job, I don't think any of them did. Who's behind it? We don't know.
But see, this started under Baker.
Yeah.
And then once Baker left, Maura Healy comes in, they changed the players, and here we are.
Well, not all the players changed,
But-
most of the players in DHCD did
They're all
not
the
change.
same.
They're also the same.
Those people are all
Yeah,
the
it's
same, it's
true.
just the secretaries that changed, but, we're trying real hard. The zoning was housekeeping and, where, I'm very fearful.
We need a letter to the editors.
Well,
I mean,
I know, what, other people are doing that.
I read a lot of those
Yeah.
letters to the editor from
Yeah.
different communities about this issue.
Yeah.
Like, maybe a little quote from their letter. No, not yet.
I don't think yet, I mean, I sent an email to Patrick Kearney and Patrick O'Connor asking them to keep pursuing the mandatory mixed-use district for Greenwich. We applied for 2 mandatory mixed-use districts, one in North Scituate and one in Greenwich. We were denied in Greenwich because there was a perception there was too much parking lot.
Which is the MBTA part.
The parking lot is the MBTA. So, and they also, in the phone call that we had tried to say that it wasn't a historic area. And it's not in the guidelines, again, they're making up things as they go along. So, you know,
There are many towns that are more historic. than
Yeah,
Scituate.
us, we are the men of, we're the bad people from the bad people. We only came to Plymouth, and then those bad people came here.
you know, and it's better to have the mandatory mixed use district where we have it, because it's not all in the zone A. So, you know, it's, I don't know, we're still fighting that battle. They said they would reconsider when we filed for final review. But I'm just afraid that if we get too far down the line, you know, we're not gonna have zoning ready for town meeting. If we have to change something. And I can tell you, we don't wanna change it. We think the zoning is fine the way it is, et cetera.
And
But,
I think if we tried again, there'd be a lot of pushback,
right,
a lot of pushback that we don't want.
We
right.
don't need it. We don't need it.
We don't
So-
want it.
That's where we are. We just have to wait and see what EOHLC says. But we hope to have a discussion sometime in early June. And we hope to file for our, you know, conforming district, soon.
So what happens is, the people, is that if we don't get this into, if we're not compliant, we are not eligible for state funds and grants, so that's a, if we would ask for the town administrator to make sure we get all the money we can. So that's,
What's the percentage?
we don't really know.
We get,
Fluctuates.
they said to town meeting that we got 18 million in grants. We've had 18 million in grants over the past few years. We're technically in compliance to the end of the year. We're applying for a lot of grants right now. We're applying for a sewer grant for North Scituate. They're applying for harbor dredging grants. They're applying, they've got a grant for the harbor masters, a study for redoing that office. We get a lot of MVP grants. So we get a lot of grants. And in some places they were implying that, who knows? You know, they might take my school grants too. So that, there's an implication there that they might. But the town of Scituate, we get a lot of grants for seawalls. I mean, so are grants important to the town of Scituate? Yes. So we're trying to make it work. I mean, we were practically there to begin with. And we're just that little bit over the edge, you know, going from 12 units to 15 units per acre, you know, and a few other minor things was the only thing that we had to do. But now they're being overly critical for a town who is trying to comply.
But what's the number of units that?
We have to zone for 1,239.
We have to zone, we don't have to build, we just have to zone. So, I don't know what's going to happen.
Stay tuned, you
This is
know,
under a lot of criticism, actually, there's lots of public scrutiny on this, and how towns circumvent it. About the coast, so. All right, so we have, did you liaison this week?
I'm here actually, David.
how many of our units are built?
Yeah, since you changed the zone, since we changed the zone in the group, that's shown.
Nothing.
No.
No,
The
nothing.
apartments.
Nothing's, because that was approved under the old zoning. The Drew Company was approved under mixed use, that wasn't approved under the new zoning. They used a lot of the principles of the new zoning, but that was approved under a mixed use special permit. So, well, wait a minute, all right, no, how many have been built? That 14 to 16 Old Country Way, so 8.
What about the ones on Scituate Place? That was not done yet. The back out to the, these are.
All right, so 8 and 5. 8 and 5 is 13. That's all we've had built. We've got a lot approved.
We don't build, we just.
Right,
yeah, we don't-
Oh, no, I know that, I was just wondering. Oh, but if you, so we're not including Drew in that whole thing? Because
It's
that's.
unit, it's based on unit capacity. So the Drew project yields a capacity for that land, and that's the number that's in our compliance model. They're not actually counting, it's based on as if the ground was level,
Is it nothing exists?
as if nothing existed. So we all know that nobody's gonna tear down a brand new transit-oriented development, which has 78 residential units.
They're not
Right, because they're counting whatever capacity yielded for that property.
So
It could be
technically, that
less,
property could yield more than 78 units,
right, or it could yield less than 78 units.
but it doesn't matter because those are all grandfathered in.
Yeah.
They are what they are.
They are what they are, nobody, this is the thing that a lot of people don't understand, nobody's gonna go and demolish a whole industrial park
So
or brick
you-
buildings to build new buildings just to comply with
So
this.
the real question is, out of the 1,239, how many units can actually be built?
But we haven't done that, we haven't done this yet, no, we haven't done that.
That's the key math,
That
because
is the key
that's
math.
what will actually bring housing to people.
Yeah, we know that.
I may have to get into that in North Scituate.
Yeah.
For the sewer grant. That we're applying for.
Yeah, any sense, is it
I haven't looked,
500? Is it 300?
haven't even looked.
It's not 1,239.
It's not 1,230, I'm gonna tell you that.
That's a math problem, we could get an update. We'll go count. We'll go right count that.
Liaison, I went to the selectmen's meeting and left. I did not go last night to find out about the water treatment plant.
Did you watch it all right?
From what I understand, it was virtually a year,
It's very hard to understand, that is true.
so.
Bottom line is they came in 40% over. So we need a special town meeting to approve that.
On the 24th of June, and then they're gonna try for another override.
Well, they are, if you listen to the meeting, they are taking money from everywhere to try to make up the difference. I couldn't understand how far off the mark they were.
Well, if they go to town meeting for approval, approving a debt exclusion
I thought
override,
it's, so they're trying to see how much.
or
Does it matter?
whatever it is,
Yeah.
it's another debt exclusion on top of what
Well,
we just
yeah.
passed.
Well, I think DOR has to certify some things, and if DOR certifies things, then we don't need another vote. You just need town meeting, you don't need another poll vote.
Why not?
Something to borrow.
It has to do with the borrowing. I will send you the presentation. I was able to acquire the presentation. I will send you,
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see.
I will send you the presentation.
Just because they ran into crazy tax rates here.
And my concern with all of this, that actually this did come up at the selectmen's meeting. They have an option of 2 lanterns for the lighthouse. And the less expensive lantern is $500 less than the other lantern, which has whatever. And they're paying for it out of MBTA funds. Leftover historical MBTA funds from whatever. And my feeling is, this was part of the whole program to redo the lighthouse with CPC money. And the only reason they weren't going with, theoretically, they're the same, but are they really, if they're gonna go with the less expensive one, because it's gonna be here in 4 weeks, as opposed to 8 weeks, and they're tired of being behind. And if you're gonna do something, you do it right. And we need to spend the money on this water treatment plant to do it right the first time. And to Steve's point, from wherever, it should have been 75 million. That's what it should be.
you know, some of what they were saying, if you really listen to the meeting, is that prices have gone through the roof.
Yes, they have.
And the estimating has gone through the roof. And so, they, you know, so they're estimating by meetings, the means has gone up 20 to 22% is what this presentation says. And so that's taking things, you know, way through the roof, but I know.
I've seen some other people do means estimates, and those are not the estimates to use.
So I'm just going, yeah, I'll send you the presentation.
So I have nothing else to offer.
Well, I went to zoning and I asked everybody to keep an eye on zoning. Very interesting board. They had 2 projects withdrawn. We had a member actually stand up and say to an applicant, just because it happened in the past is not gonna happen anymore. We are our own individual board, we do not have to follow precedent. That stopped the applicant right in their tracks and withdrew their project right there. So, I did get worried, for, a little bit of a shakeup on how much raise of reconstruct we're gonna see in town. I think there's gonna be a big pushback on that. You gotta look at lot size a little more carefully and what to put on. Interesting, it's a very different. So, keep your eye on it. So like I said, two were taken out right away, withdrawn, 2 were continued. It was one of the most, I wouldn't say contentious, but it was pretty tense meeting because the applicants are not used to that kind of pushback from zoning board.
They used to rubber stamp.
Yeah, so I think they were a little taken aback with that, so that's good. Other than that, anybody else have anything to?
Oh, I have a whole list.
No, a whole bunch, okay.
So I had an update on the Drew Company. They're 46% occupied, 70% leased for residential,
Really?
100% leased for commercial.
Wow.
Who's doing the little building?
CBC.
No, CP Pizza.
CP's, the pizza place,
Pizza
moving
place.
in there.
Oh, it's
that's
moving on.
great.
Yeah,
So
so,
pizza in Brazil, it's
so
not crazy.
that's supposed to be open in June. Of course, it doesn't have a building permit, but, you
We
know,
won't talk
We-
about
you
that.
know, I squawked about that this week, believe me. And the Oysterman Restaurant is going into Building A.
Oh,
They,
Oh,
I
that's
believe,
cool. The
I
one
know.
from Duxbury?
Yes,
yeah.
yeah, I believe they got
that's
their,
great. They did.
their all liquor license.
They got it all.
So, which leads
Oh,
now
that'd be nice.
to, one of your conditions was that they have to do, they have to monitor the signal.
Yeah.
So I reviewed the scope of the monitoring signal analysis, and I approved that this week. DPW and I looked at it,
Mhm.
and so they're gonna let me know when they're going to be starting.
And how many days will they be monitoring? Right, is it like weekdays,
There's some
weekends?
weekends and weekdays, yeah. I mean, so, they'll be doing old Driftway, new Driftway, it seems like a very reasonable
Yeah.
scope.
So they got all the
Saturday
intersections.
midday too, so they have all the times.
When is this supposed to happen?
I don't know when it's supposed to
Because
start.
Oysterman will not be open until the holidays.
It doesn't
What
matter.
It
You
doesn't
said
matter.
50%, you said 60% residential
Oysterman won't.
occupancy.
The material impact traffic. I think it's more about, the occupancy, so.
Right, the condition was 60%, on or about 60% residential occupancy. So,
Well, I'm glad to hear that. It didn't look like it.
it's 46% occupied, 70% leased. So some people who leased haven't moved in yet.
So they're gonna wait till it's 60% occupied, will do the study.
That's what I tried to find out. I didn't really get the answer. All I was told was they would let me know when this is going to be happening.
I would encourage you to wait.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna hope they're gonna wait, but, so that's moving along. The sale project was filed. You'll be hearing that at your June, the sale, supported access for independent living.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, they didn't file the things that for a limited site plan review under the Dover Amendment. that they didn't file anything about sight lines or anything like that. So I sent an email today asking if we could get some of that information. They may tell me no, and then you're going to have a dilemma on what to do. The MEPA certificate was received for Pier 44 at the Harbor Park. So they will be,
It was approved.
Yeah.
The scope was defined.
yeah,
Is that what it is?
they don't have to do an EIR.
Oh, really?
So they said they will be doing local permitting starting in the next few months. So they have to go to planning, they have to go to conservation. An ENF was also filed for Cohasset Scituate for Henry Turner Bailey Road. The 3A corridor improvements. Haven't been able to open that one yet, but you know, that was just filed, so, there's a 30-day.
That's where the track plays are gonna go.
Right, yeah. A letter went to Mass Housing from Jim today, on the housing project eligibility letter for First Parish Road. He, of course, is recommending Mass Housing not approve project eligibility application. The letter is very good.
On the west side.
No,
No.
by Chester's.
First Parish Road.
210, 214, 218 First Parish Road.
What's that?
The gas station over.
Oh, yeah.
It's
It's uphill,
Right.
it's uphill from
Oh,
there.
it's way,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Closer to the common.
That's
Where
a
it is.
wooded area there.
Yeah, right. So, that letter went to Mass Housing today, and, I thought it was a good one. I mean, what he did was he took all of our comments and, you know, he put some of his own comments in, and then some, residential comments were in there.
Is the sign still up?
Sign is still, the sign is on private property now, the sign is not in the public right of way. They got it, he made them move it from there. I know it's gonna be really hard to see, but we are gonna get a new zoning map. Sherry and I've been working to get it right. And so, you know, the colors are slightly different. But, you know, we have the change that went into, you know, in the North Scituate district. And it's, you know, we use our MBTA consultant to do it. I mean, because
It will get electronic version.
yeah, when we get it, we'll have an electronic version that you can put on the website, plus we'll get 7 or so printed copies, and then you know, it'll be on the website, but we need a little version to put it to the AG. But, you know, it
Shrink
tried,
that down to a 3x7 card.
we tried to make it as close as possible, but there are changes just because it's a different consultant.
Plus, there's a lot more overlay stuff going on.
Well, it's the same amount of overlay there, it's just that they use, in some cases, that one is hard to read. I mean,
That one was really hard to read.
well, you have to know what you're looking at.
That's why I say, a PDF version would be good.
Well,
Yeah,
there'll be PDF versions, believe me. But, so, I mean, we've been working to get it done, and so hopefully we can get it to the AG's office tomorrow, and that will complete all our submission from town meeting. And then, I don't know if it's gonna take 90 days from that, or, I mean, I think they're already reviewing. I mean, they did a preliminary review of our zoning anyways, and, so we'll see. That's kind of all that I can say publicly. And we're still busy.
Question for you. The new elementary school we got approved. Have we seen any plans? Do we know, like, whether this is even permittable where it's?
We have not seen any plans, and, you know, it's going to need site plan review.
Yeah.
I imagine they'll try to claim Dover Amendment too. But you're gonna have to review the storm drainage too.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about, because that was a problem.
Yeah. No, we haven't seen anything. I don't know what the schedule is for when it should come to you.
Is there a, I don't know, is it groundwater well over there or something? An area that
It's
is
on the end
designated
of
for
College Street,
groundwater
right, it's
future
Joe and Rose,
development?
close to College Street, right?
I don't think it's that close to the Dover website.
Okay,
No, I don't think.
I remembering there was something down that end of the,
It's high, it's it's glacial till soil over
Yeah.
there with the perch water table, and there are wetlands in,
right,
there's gotta be wetlands in the back because, it's adjacent to, and vinyl. So there's gotta be wetlands over there too.
yeah, no, I just remember when we were talking about water capacity, that somebody had identified an area over that,
It was,
maybe not right there, but an
it's
area
the
over there
Dolan well site.
that could be developed for groundwater wells.
It's not potable. It wasn't when they initially wanted to do it back in the 80s. And they decided that no, it wasn't potable and it was too close to the train tracks. And then they spent money on it in the last few years. It still isn't potable.
And that's.
Well,
close
but
to
they're still
College Street.
talking about developing the Dolan
Yeah,
well
they're
there.
still talking about it.
But
Yeah, whatever.
gives you something to do.
Yes.
When do we think that's coming in?
Have no idea, nobody said anything.
Encourage people not to give it to us and say, we need a decision in 30 days, because we have to send it out to bid or something.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we will, that'll be a no way. That'll be a no way.
It happens every time.
I know it happened with the tennis courts, it happened with a bunch of things, but this will be a no way thing because, we've seen just some schematics is what was presented to town meeting. We don't know if this can really work,
No.
but no one's saying.
Shockingly little amount of information for a
Well, we're also-
$120 million decision.
Right.
Well, because we're always at the bottom of the list for public project, always.
No, I mean, just as a
That's-
resident of the
Yeah.
town, nothing out there.
It's interesting you should say that because someone said to me something when I was at the election. I said to them, I know how to find information. I was a librarian by training and it was really hard for me to find information. And I'm not connected to the schools at all, so nothing was ever sent home to me for that stuff that they have. I didn't know anything,
Well, even that stuff, it's just, it was sort of
very vague.
propaganda.
Yeah,
It wasn't really detailed.
so we'll see when it comes to us, we'll see what happens. Blow it away.
That's all I have. We're busy and, we'll be expecting a new round of projects, in the next 2 months.
What's our next meeting?
2 weeks.
June
13th.
And it's a
Is there
big,
anything on it that
yeah, it's a big,
is an issue? Like what?
Well, we have 19 Ford Place, that they're in for an update, no decision.
Okay.
You have Laurelwood, and you'll have, the sale property, and we'll have a Form A. That's what we have right now.
so this
I
is
have
not.
to do that for one.
Yeah. What's the Form A? Not this one. No.
The Dock and Grove property.
Okay, all right. I'll entertain it. Yeah, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.